the very first tour I ever did in my life was with a band called the Thrashing Doves. They were a band with 4 guys, 2 brothers and 2 other guys, who were signed to A&M, and they had this big record deal, and they were trying to really break this band, and they did a U.S. tour, and I was hired to play bass for that tour. And this bass was purchased for that tour. It went through a bunch of incarnations, and why it ended up being called Marilyn is because there's a photograph of Marilyn Monroe that's under the pickguard here. And when I bought the bass, I think it had a black plate on it. And maybe a few years after owning it, I remember going to the bass center and seeing some Stingrays on the wall, and one of them had a clear plate. And I went, wow, that's really cool. I wonder if I could get a clear plate, and then I could do paintings, or I could put any kind of picture I wanted underneath the plate. It would be different. I could change the color. So I got a clear plate, and the first thing I did was put, I like to chew gum. I like bubble gum. That sounds crazy, but I'm still I'm like a kid when it comes to bubble gum. It's a wonder I have any teeth left. But I had a collection of Bazooka Joe comics that I'd made into a collage. And that was the first picture that was underneath this plate. And on my second album on Island called Rude Blue, you can see that this bass is on the cover with me, and you can see the Bazooka Joe underneath. Not long after that, I was on a train. I could remember I was taking a train somewhere in England, and I opened a magazine, and there was this picture of Marilyn Monroe in the magazine. There was something about the way she looked there, and she was reading her. It said that was her on the set of her very last film, and she was learning her lines, and she just looked so kind of like, forlorn and crazy, and just like, and I thought, what she looked like to me was sometimes how I felt like about just music and playing, and like that frustration of wanting to be better and like trying to learn a part, or just, really trying to be present and get it right. And I just like that picture. And I wasn't particularly a Marilyn fan. It's not like I'm a big, I don't have, trinkets all over my house with Marilyn Monroe. In fact, this is the only thing that I have. So I took that photo out of the magazine, and I took it to the print shop and had it blown up big enough that I could make an outline of it and put it under the plate, and it's been there ever since. And that must have been from maybe 1993. So it's been on there for a very long time. I've never even taken this plate off, so over 20 years it's been here. And when I started working with David Bowie, this was on every single tour and every album that I've worked on with him. I felt like it became like my Lucille. You know how B.B. King has a Lucille, or different people name their guitars and basses different things. So this is my Marilyn. That's the story of Marilyn, basically. It's just that it's so special to me that I even have it in my will that I want it to be cremated with me. I don't want anyone to have this. She's going with me all the way.